So I used to think that if everything in my life wasn't running like smoothly, that I was failing in some way, whether it was failing as a father or a husband or as a leader, that chaos looked like or meant that I was weak. That if I couldn't keep all the plates spinning just right, then I didn't have what it took to handle the responsibilities that mattered to me the most. But now what I know is what I was experiencing was like this control illusion, and I was missing the real power that I already had inside me. So today we're going to be talking about how you reclaim that power, that agency when life feels completely out of control, like you're in chaos. So this is going to be like the control recovery method way to think about it. And so welcome to the Giver Method channel. My name is Jake. So glad you're able to join me. Let me plant some seeds that might make this hit home a little bit more for you. Ask you a couple quick questions. Have you ever looked around and thought, why does it feel like everyone else has their life together and I'm just trying to keep my head above water? Or maybe you're working harder than ever, juggling responsibilities at home and your business, but you still feel like nothing's actually in your control. Or maybe you used to feel confident and now you're just trying to make it through the day without snapping or completely shutting down. If any of that sounds like you or resonates with you, then you're in the right place. This video is for you. And guess what? You are definitely not alone. There are so many people out there who feel the same as you. Now, what might be happening is like there's this fear confusion around you. You've been spending energy trying to control things that were never really yours to carry, while overlooking the places where you actually have influence and power. You might be a parent buried under the family chaos, kids' schedules, finances, health issues, and feel like you've lost yourself somewhere in the middle of all of that. Or maybe you're the entrepreneur feeling like your business is running you. Like you're constantly just reacting to fires instead of leading with vision. Or maybe you're the employee who's working away, stuck in that workplace chaos, trying to survive, shifting priorities and toxic dynamics. Well, gosh, all while wondering if you actually have any say in your career environment. Like, whatever that story is, whatever that sounds like to you, I want you to hear this. Like, chaos doesn't mean you're powerless. It just means it's time to shift where you're placing your energy. And so I want to dive deep with you into that and unpack it for you a bit. Like I said, my name is Jake Talbert. I am the founder and author of this book. It's called The Giver Method. It came out last November, and since coming out, it has been an Amazon bestseller. Okay, people love it. I'm going to put a link in the description where you can go get it on Amazon. Right now, it's available for between $2 to $10. $2 for digital, $10 for the physical. That's the best $2 to $10 you can invest in yourself. It will change your life. It helps people to discover their gifts, how they make those be superpowers, create more influence and impact in their world, more value for the people in their lives, have better engagements and relationships with those around them, live a more fulfilled life. I mean, gosh, more joy and delight in your life. Who doesn't want that? So this is the best $2 to $10 you could invest in yourself. So either pause the video, open your Amazon app, and go put this in your cart and get it for yourself, or use the link down in the description to get yourself a copy. Like I said, people love it for a couple of reasons. The reason why there's so many 5-star reviews, why it sold thousands of copies, is that it's two reasons. Number one, it's grounded in my story. And I've walked a very similar path to you because I am a parent. I've got 3 kids. I'm an entrepreneur, and I have worked in that corporate sphere in the sea of cubicles. And so I know firsthand like what you could be experiencing, what you're feeling, similar dynamics and everything. And so everything I cover and the stories I tell are very grounded in very similar thoughts that you've probably thought yourself. The other one is that every chapter has different exercises and action items, and they're designed for people like you, for the parent, for the entrepreneur, for the person working away who doesn't have time to just start over, to burn it all down and start from scratch. So go get yourself a copy. Once again, if you want to pause the video, either go down to the description, use the link, or you can go to thegivermethod.com or go just straight to Amazon and look up The Giver Method by Jake Talbert. That'd be the easy way. Now, here's something I know from helping so many people navigate the chaos in their own lives. Like there's a really important thing that you have to discover along the way. Something that changes everything. You don't need to control everything in the chaos to reclaim power. You just need to focus your energy on your sphere of influence and use your gifts strategically, even in the midst of that chaos. Now here's the really wild part, is that there's tons of data and research out there that back that. People who focus on what's in their sphere of control, like experience 60% less anxiety and make significantly better decisions under pressure, because instead of reacting to everything, they're choosing how they show up. And so that's what I want to cover in this video. I want to walk you through these 6 super practical strategies and principles that are helping parents and entrepreneurs and people who are working away, just like you, reclaim their agency, stay grounded in the chaos, and create leadership starting from the inside out. This isn't pretending that chaos doesn't affect you. It's not designed to be any sort of like just woo mind tactic or whatever. Like it's definitely not about adding more to your already overloaded plate. It's about just being honest with where you are right now and where your real like powers lie. You know, how to stop trying to control what isn't even yours and focus on what is. And so every principle, like I said, ties back to the GIVER method, and the philosophies taught in there, because when you lead from your gifts and act from like a sphere of influence, everything will change for you. You stop trying to manage the unmanageable and you start creating momentum in the places that matter the most for you, and start feeling more alive as a part of that. Now, if you want to dive deeper into that, like I said, go get yourself a copy of the GIVER Method on Amazon. You can go to thegivermethod.com. There's all sorts of free resources on there. There's ways that we help people, all sorts of things like that you can check out. I'll put the link in the description to also all of our social media. So go follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, here on YouTube, all under the handle of the GIVER Method. And like I said, get yourself the free resources. You know, if you want to invest the $2 to $10, I think that's going to be the best way to really start that process for you. Now, if you are like, yep, and I'm ready to go even further than that, you know, I'm looking for some personal support. You know, maybe you're tired of trying to figure it all out on your own. Then I've opened up a couple of one-on-one coaching positions, like spots that you could just work with me one-on-one. There's a link in the description, talks about coaching. Go check that page out. Now, if you lead a team, run a podcast, host an event, or you bring people together and you think this message could serve them, I'd love to talk to you about like how we could bring this type of message to your audience in a very honest and practical way. So there's a link down there about speaking and podcasting. And of course, hit subscribe, tap that bell for notifications. Don't want you to miss out on any content we have. Like the video, comment your thoughts along the way, what resonated with you, because I'd love to hear what's landing for people. All right, now let's jump in. Let's not wasting any more time. Let's start reclaiming the kind of control that doesn't come from like force or perfection, but from clarity and alignment and presence. It's like, and it's been in you all along. You just have to learn how to start using it. And so the first principle I call the agency, like there's an agency audit as like a foundation. Like what's actually yours to carry and what's not. You have to understand the difference between what you can control, what you can't. You know, here's like, if we want to be real for a second, one of the fastest ways to feel completely out of control is to try and carry stuff that was never actually yours to carry. You know, and that's what a lot of us do when life feels chaotic. We start like trying to manage our own teenager's attitude, our clients' responses to emails, the market, the mood of our boss, and whether our kids are going to melt down today or not. And before we know it, our energy is completely shot, and we've actually like we haven't changed anything about any of those, right? And you know, and back when like I was in the smack middle of one of the most chaotic seasons of my life, you know, all sorts of things happening, you know, craziness going on around me. Like I realized something that changed everything. I was spending all this energy trying to control the things I couldn't. I was stressing about people's reactions, outcomes, you know, that I couldn't even guarantee, and that stuff was just out of my lane. Meanwhile, I was ignoring the things that actually gave me power and helped me to show up the way I wanted to. My energy, you know, that I brought to the room, and how I choose to say yes, you know, to certain things and no to other things. So here's the shift. Instead of trying to control everything, we're going to start by focusing on what actually belongs to us, what's inside us, like our real sphere of influence. That's where your power lives. And here's the wild part. Once again, the data, it backs it. You know, the people who focus on what they can control more than like, you know, the more your influence will actually grow over time. It's not about shrinking your world. It's just about focusing the energy on what matters the most to you. So here's what I want you to do. Here's how we start. You know, simple, but really big, game-changing thing that I want you to try is called, there's like a reality check I want you to do. You know, grab a piece of paper or open up a notes app or whatever it might be. You're going to create 3 columns. You know, like I said, best if it's a piece of paper. And in those 3 sections, I want you to put like the top one, the first one's going to be can control, second one's going to be can influence, and the third one's like gotta let go. And then brain dump everything that's stressing you out right now. Be very specific, not like my job or my kid, right? Like my boss constantly changing my priorities, my daughter's refusal to do homework. Once it's all out of your head, go down the list and start sorting it into like, what can I control? Like the things I have direct authority over, my mindset, my calendar, my morning routine, how I respond to a tough conversation. There's the can influence, which is like, are the things you can shape, but you don't have full control over: your team's morale, your child's confidence, your marriage, you know. And then gotta let go, like, is everything that doesn't belong to you, other people's opinions, outcomes you can't force, you know, your cousin's post on social media, whatever. And then here's the next challenge. Like for the next 7 days, spend your energy only on the first 2 columns. When you catch yourself spiraling, like on something that maybe is in that gotta let go category, like pause for a second, breathe, give yourself that second, and redirect your focus to something that you can move, even if it's small. It's not about ignoring the hard stuff. It's just about, you know, it's about protecting your power and putting your energy where you actually can create the most change, you know, without creating more anxiety for yourself. Because the second you start trying to control everything, you actually control nothing. Your energy gets so split, your head is so cloudy, your heart starts to believe the lies that you're powerless. But when you zero in on what's yours and what you can control, your voice and your responses and your rhythm and your gifts, gosh, like that's when things would shift. It's not about like reducing overwhelm. It's about overcoming, like it's about really just coming home to the power that you already have. And most people don't realize how much agency like they're giving away until they finally pause and take that honest look. That awareness alone, it can help bring chaos down and bring so much more clarity into your life. Now that leads us into the second one, which is like, who you are doesn't disappear in the chaos. Like you got to have some sort of identity anchor. When everything else feels unstable, you got to remember who you are. And because it's a very sneaky side effect of chaos. It messes with our sense of self. Like you go from knowing who you are and feeling like, you're just to knowing who you are to feeling like you're just surviving, right? You start thinking of yourself as like, I'm the overwhelmed one. I'm the barely holding it together. Maybe it's the burned out mom, or the overreactive boss, the stuck employee you can't win. Like, but the truth is, like, and I wish someone told me this earlier in life, like chaos doesn't erase your identity in any way. It just drowns out the volume a bit. Who you are underneath all the stress, like that doesn't go anywhere. In fact, like when everything does fall apart, your gifts actually can show up louder, but only if you pay attention to them. I mean, the GIVER Method book, like it reminds us of something super powerful. Like your identity isn't defined by what's happening to you. It's defined by how you choose to show up, especially when things aren't going according to plan. You're not just a sum of your responsibilities. You're someone with value, with strength, with a way of showing up that makes a real difference for people. And so here's the couple of ways that you can approach this. The first one, like a little exercise I love, there's the chaos identity, and there's a statement you're going to create around this. Simple sentence, but it really does pack a punch. Start with like, no matter what's going on around me, I'm someone who, and then you write out a sentence with like 5 to 7 things that you feel are true about you, your gifts, your values, the way you want to show up, even if the days aren't perfect. So like, here's an example I wrote out. I'm someone who brings calm when things are messy. And I see possibilities when others see problems. I create connection even when people are distant, and I lead with wisdom. I bounce back and I care deeply. Whatever yours is, write it down, stick it on your bathroom mirror, read it every morning, especially when life feels loud and unstable, because your nervous system needs the anchor. Then throughout your day, try this, like there's a couple things you could try. Like there's the gift recognition that you can do while you're in that storm. Like when chaos is hitting, whether it's work or carpool line or during another unexpected curveball, pause and ask yourself, which of my gifts is trying to come forward right now? It might be your empathy when your kid's melting down, your strategic brain when your team hits the wall, or your ability to speak calm into heated conversations. You have to wait for life to feel smoother before you can use your gifts, or before your gifts matter. Your gifts were built for moments like this. Because like when your identity is tied to your like external circumstances, you will always feel like you're drowning. But when you like anchor those gifts that you have into your values, even the messiest seasons you can shake off. The wild part is like that the grounded sense of self, it actually makes you more effective, not less. Like people who know who they are, who've done the kind of like inner anchoring work, like make clear decisions, bounce back faster, and become more steadily present in everyone's lives around them. So you don't have to fix everything to lead well. You just have to remember who you are while everything is swirling. And when you do that, like you stop just surviving inside the chaos, you actually start becoming calm, the calm inside of all the chaos. And that takes us to our third principle, which is all about starting your day like you mean it, not like you're already losing. Because most people don't start their day, they survive the day. The alarm goes off, you grab your phone, and before your feet even hit the ground, your brain is already juggling dozens of problems and things, right? Kids, emails, texts, work drama, like you're behind before you even begin. And by the time you hit bedtime, it feels like you were busy all day long, but you didn't actually move forward anything that matters. And so that's this idea of like having some sort of a morning system, a morning anchor comes in. Not like some perfect routine, not a 5 a.m. like miracle morning plan, like just a few non-negotiables, like a few minutes where you set the tone before the world starts barking all of its orders at you, right? It's not about productivity, it's about your presence, your intention, remembering that like you're not powerless even when life feels like it's a lot. You don't need 90 minutes of silence. Like you just need maybe 5-10 minutes, a quiet moment, and a reminder that you're not just the responder to life. You get to choose how you want to show up. And so let's talk about how you can do that. So here's what I recommend. Try like having some sort of a 10-minute morning, system, anchor, routine, whatever it is. Like, and adjust the timing if you need to, but don't overthink it. You spend the first couple minutes, maybe 1 to 3 minutes, like where it's like your control journaling, where you jot down one thing or you think through one thing you can control today. And name a gift that you choose to activate. It could be that you want to choose to be calm. You could be humor. It could be follow through. The point is, your power is not like theoretical. It shows up through your consistent choice and you writing it down. Then the next step, which is going to be the next couple of minutes, like ask yourself, how do I want to show up? Who do I want to be today? Not just like, what do I want to get done, but how do I want to move through it? Do I want to be present for my kids? Do I want to be centered during work meetings, playful instead of stressed? Like, set the intention early before chaos makes any decisions for you. And then the next couple minutes is going to be about strategic focus. Look at your day. Pick 1 to 2 places where your presence and gifts will actually move the needle. Not like 12 things, like not everything, just places where it matters the most today. This helps protect your energy and direct your focus where it counts. And then the last minute is just like some sort of a stability, like some sort of a gratitude. Wrap everything up, with like what's steady right now for you, something that's working, like a gift you can rely on, a person who's showing up for you. Like, chaos tricks us into thinking everything's falling apart, and this step just reminds us like that's not a full truth. And that's it. Like, that's 10 minutes. You could do that in 10 minutes. You could make it shorter. If you want to do more, you could. Like, there's no pressure. It's just you choosing. It's agency. It's alignment with who you are. Because, how you start your day, like, that shifts how you live your day. People who do some version of this, like they're not magically avoiding chaos. Like, the chaos still can happen, but they move through it differently. They lead themselves instead of getting yanked around by urgency. They remember what their gifts are and they stay in touch with what matters most to them. Tons of data out there supports this. People who have consistent morning practices experience significantly less stress, better decision making, and more momentum throughout the day. But you don't have to trust any sort of science to back that. Like you could feel it. It isn't about a perfect morning routine. It's just about like the real one, the grounded one, the one that reminds you that no matter what's happening around you, you still have to say, like, you still have to say how you're going to show up. And that, it starts to shift things for you. Now it takes us to the fourth principle. So like we talked about the gifts, the G in the GIVER method is all about your gifts and your superpowers. So gift activation when you're in chaos. Like, your gifts aren't making things harder. They're how you're going to get through it. And that might surprise you, but like chaos, it actually reveals more of your gifts than calm ever does. When everything starts like spinning out of control, when plans or structure or support systems fall away, what are you left with? What's natural to you? Your instincts, your natural wiring, your strengths. But here's the problem. Most people misread their gifts in those moments. Empathetic parents think like why do I care so much? It's so exhausting. Analytical expert, entrepreneur will think to themselves like, I can't shut my brain off, or the creative employee thinks like, my ideas don't make sense right now. But like, what if those things aren't making it harder? What if they're your way through it? You weren't given these gifts to use when life is going great and perfect. Like, they're not for highlight reels or vision boards. They're built for the chaos, right? They're the stabilizers and the support beams and the anchors that keep you in place. Like, you just have to start seeing them that way and using them on purpose. So start with some sort of like a gift map. Nothing fancy. Draw out a couple columns, open up a thing on your phone, like whatever, create a couple buckets of things where it's like, the first one is like, what's chaotic right now? Family stress, team tension, career shift, like whatever. Write it out. And then on the other side of it, you're going to list out 3 to 5 of your core strengths or gifts. If you need help, like, think back to the people, what people have said, that they always come to you for help with on. What do they compliment you on? You're so calm. You see things differently. You always know what to say. Like, those aren't just compliments. Those are your toolkit. If you want to go even deeper, gosh, there's like a resource you could go get down in the description that you could go order that would help you with it as well. Then, like, connect the dots. If your kid is struggling and your gift is empathy, like, that's not emotional overload. It's your way to tune into what they're really asking for underneath the behavior. If your business is a mess and your gift is problem solving, like, don't, like, it's not overthinking. Like, just use the lens to see the path through the fog before anybody else does. If your team is scattered and your gift is connection, like, it's not extra work. You're the glue that brings people back together when things feel like they're falling apart. And then where it gets real, like where you could really dive deep into this, is start doing this like daily gift activation, where every morning you pick one gift, yes, just one of them, and you set the intention. Today I'm using my calm. Today I'm leaning more into my creativity. Today I'm going to be a more active listener. I'm going to listen deeply. Look for small and very specific moments to practice it. Use your humor to break tension. Use your strategic brain to simplify a project at work. Use your compassion to check in with a friend who's clearly not okay. Like, this isn't about being heroic. It's just about being intentional. You're not waiting for life to feel easy. You're using what's already yours right in the middle of all the messiness. Like, your gifts, they were never meant to just sit on the shelf until life calms down, because guess what? That's never going to happen. They're built for storms, no matter what level of storm you're in. And once you stop seeing them as like they're too much, they're not helpful right now, you realize something that's really going to impact you. Like, these gifts are your strategy. Like, they're your stability plan. They're how you navigate through all this. And the kicker is, like, there's data out there that supports this. People who consciously use their natural strengths through tough seasons, like, they recover from those tough seasons 70% faster. They build momentum. They emerge stronger, more confident, more grounded. And so if you're in any sort of a chaotic season right now, just know your superpowers don't disappear. They just got buried under the stress, and it's time to dig them back up and put them to work. Not someday, but today. Now that takes us to the fifth principle. Okay, which I really want people to hear really clearly. The fifth principle: let it go, like, on purpose. Stop carrying like what's not yours. Like, if you're the kind of person who feels like the world would fall apart if you take your hands off the wheel, this is going to be for you, because here's the truth. Most people that I've worked with are really good at being responsible, almost too good. Parents feel like they're failing their kids, if their kids are having a hard time. Entrepreneurs feel like every part of the business has to run through them. Employees take on the emotional weight of their toxic boss and their chaotic teams. But trying to control what's not even yours, that's not leadership. That's not love. It's heavy. Strategic release isn't about checking out. It's about, it's not about caring less about what you're doing. It's about choosing where the energy goes, because only you can choose that. Your energy is like a currency. We've got time, energy, and money. Those are the three currencies of life. And your energy, like, you only have so much of it. And when you stop trying to control the things that don't actually belong to you, you get to show up stronger where you have influence. So think about the first step that you can do to work through this is, like, what's the responsibility audit that you can go through? And seriously, write this out. What are the things I'm holding responsibility for lately? My partner's happiness, your team's performance, your child's moods, your boss's communication issues, whatever. And next to each one, ask yourself, is this actually mine to carry? Or did I pick it up because no one else was? Or because I didn't want to feel guilty? And then you move into, like, these daily strategic releases, where each morning you ask yourself, like, what's one thing I'm gripping onto that I could maybe let go of today on purpose and choose to? Like, maybe, like, hey, I'm going to release control over how my child reacts today. And I'm going to focus on just staying calm and connected. I'm going to release control over how the market responds. I'm just going to focus on the client who's in front of me and providing them a great experience. Hey, I'm releasing control over my manager and how they communicate, and poor communication. I'm just going to focus on how I'm going to show up in meetings. This is, like, it's so powerful. It's not passive in any sort of way. Like, you start releasing, and you'll want something to replace it with. Like, so that's where creating some sort of boundaries, loving boundaries, comes in. Letting go of control doesn't mean abandoning people. It means staying present in the ways that are actually helpful. Instead of forcing your teenager to do their homework, you offer structure, support, natural consequences. Instead of micromanaging your team, you offer clarity and trust and availability. Instead of obsessing over your spouse's stress level, you offer presence, like, without trying to fix things. If a situation keeps pulling at you, like, create these, like, release rituals. Like, write it down, tear it up, say it out loud to a trusted friend, pray it, breathe it out, whatever. Like, whatever helps your nervous system feel like you're letting go of that thing. Like, not just think it, do something, some sort of an action that tells your body, like, I'm letting this go. Because trying to control what isn't yours, like, to control, is one of the fastest ways you could lead to burnout. You have to carry the weight of the world with you. Like, you have to, gosh, being the good parent, the partner, the good leader, the good employee, like, in fact, the people around you, they need to see you release the things that don't belong to you. It gives them permission to take ownership of what does belong to them. You create space for your gifts to show up again, your energy to, like, recharge, to be present, like, to really be felt by those around you. And the moment you stop, holding on so tightly to some of those things, that's the moment you finally can breathe again. So yeah, strategic release isn't a weakness, it's wisdom. It's one of the bravest ways you reclaim the power that you have when you feel like things are just too much right now. And of course, the sixth one is the calm and the chaos, how you be the anchor for others, without losing yourself. Because the wild thing about taking your power back is, we focus on our sphere of influence and letting go of what's not yours. If something starts to shift, you show up differently. You're not louder, you're not bossier, you're just calmer, you're steadier. You're not getting tossed around in every storm, and without even trying, you become the person others start looking to when things feel out of control. This isn't about being an expert or having all the answers. It's just about knowing where your energy belongs and staying grounded. While everyone else is spinning, they're trying to manage everything or giving up entirely, you're standing there in the best way possible, and people feel that. It's a calm leadership. It's not a title, it's not presence, it's or performance. It's just showing up in a way that gives others permission to settle too. So you can lean into this so much more. You step into being that kind of leadership without needing a promotion or a pep talk. You could start with this, the intentional calm presence, where in a moment of chaos, whether it's family meltdowns, team crisis, or your own mental spiral, pause, just take a breath and lower your voice and ask, what part of this can I actually influence right now? My family's on the edge of trying to fix, don't try to fix everything, or silence the noise. Instead, try something okay, what would help you feel a little more settled right now? What part of this feels the most overwhelming to you? It's not about solving the whole thing. It's about helping them find their first step forward. In business chaos, be the one who asks real questions and pull people out of reaction mode. Gosh, that's a lot. What success look like on the other side of this? What's one thing we could do today that would make it 10% better? Or tensions run high, when you're at work, at home, or in your head, use some sort of grounded communication. Speak your values, not your frustration. Hey, I get that this is tough. Let's talk about what we can do. Hey, I want to help. Let's start with what we can control. Using language that just recenters everyone back, including yourself, it brings you back to center. Because calm presence doesn't just help you think more clearly, it actually shifts the emotional state of the people around you. When you lead from calm, not just managing crisis, you create an environment where others can rise up too. You help people breathe again. You remind them they're not powerless in any sort of way. And here's the beautiful part. When you show up in that way, helping others remember who they are, you spark their own gifts, their own courage, and their next move. So no, you don't need a leadership role to lead well. You just need to be calm in the chaos. And when you do this consistently, you don't just change that moment, you start changing the culture around you. And so as we wrap this up, I want to leave a couple things with you. That chaos that you're living with right now, it's not here to take you out. It's not here. It's here to show you what's real. What's always been yours. You're gonna be going through it. The noise, the pressure, the curveballs. They strip away the distractions. What's left? If you strip away all the distractions around all that, what's left? There's you. You've got your gifts, you've got your values, your ability to choose. The things we talked about today, that we walked through, they aren't just becoming some ideal version of yourself. Yeah, that's the goal. But they're actually about helping you come home to a version of you that's already inside you. The one who's already been buried under the expectations, obligations, and the noise that was never yours to carry in the first place. So you don't need to calm everything to feel calm again. You just need to, we don't even need to fix the entire world to make intentional moves in your own life. You just need to focus on the part of your story that's yours to write. Your choices, your presence, your gifts. That's where it shifts. And here's the thing, when you have more influence than you think, when you lean into that, because you've got so much more than you think. You've just been aiming in all the wrong directions. But when you start putting that energy into what is actually yours to shape, and using your strengths that you already have, you're gonna bring more clarity, more stability to everything. You stop feeling like you're drowning. You start becoming one that others look to, that they want to be near when things are happening. The people around you, they don't need you to fix everything. They just need you to be rooted in who you are, because when you show up grounded, gosh, you give them permission to do the same. You give them someone to lean on when those times are hard. Now, if this message, if this type of thing hit home for you, then that's where I highly recommend go to Amazon, get yourself a copy. Use the link in the description or pause the video, go to Amazon, get yourself a copy of The GIVER Method by Jake Talbert. Once again, the best $2 to $10 you could invest in yourself right now. It's filled with real-world strategies to help you activate your gifts and lead from the inside out, especially when life feels overwhelming. If you're craving more one-on-one support, once again, if you want help figuring out what your actual superpowers are and how to build the life that feels aligned with who you are, I've got the one-on-one coaching positions that are open that you can go take a look at in the description. If you run a team, lead a community, have a podcast, a stage, event, whatever, a room where people gather to grow, I'd love to bring this message or one like it to them. So check out the link down below for that. And then, hey, if anything landed for you today, drop a comment and let me know which one. Like, what sparked for you? You know, that helps me keep creating content that actually supports what you're looking for. And of course, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell for notifications. Like, I post videos all week long, and I would hate for you to miss out on any of the great content we have designed for parents, leaders, employees, entrepreneurs, like doing their best, but still feeling like they're falling short. My mission is to help you see what's already inside you. You know, that you're not failing because things are chaotic. You're not broken. There's nothing off. Like, when you're someone who has influence, with gifts, with purpose. And the more you stop trying to control everything and you just focus on what's yours, the more powerful you feel. So go take any honest step today. One honest step. Anchor into who you are using your strengths. Let chaos swirl, but know, like, you stand in the middle of it, in control of where you're at. With that, I'll just say thank you so much for joining me today. Have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in our next video.